Hello, hello. It's Kyle Shannon with the AI Learning Lab. Just getting set up here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. Is it Saturday? I think it's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. Saturday. I can answer your questions. Hey, Emilio's wife, what's happening? I can answer your questions about AI. I can't answer your questions about what day it is. Apparently, I can't talk either. I need to get some water. Should I just walk away while people are coming in? I probably shouldn't, but I do need some water. All right. Let's see. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'm here to wax poetic about generative AI. Get water. Yeah, I'm going to go get water. Came for the hairdo. Come for the hair. Stay for the jokes about how I look like Rosie O'Donnell. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. You've been waiting so long for me to return. The Rosie O'Donnell joke is so. My trolls are creative, at least. So in the past week, I was told I looked like Rosie O'Donnell. There's a lot of people here. Let me tell you who I am. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'm a longtime entrepreneur. I talk about what I'm learning in AI, in generative AI. So I'm relatively new to it. I've been deep diving for about a year, but I started a AI Salon. I have a newsletter called Everyday AI. I've got this TikTok channel, and I'm rolling AI into my business, which is it's called Storyvine. It's an automated video platform, and I'm completely reimagining the product because of generative AI. If you've got questions about AI, pop them in the comments, and then you can watch as I comically try to keep up with them, but don't. And then new people are like, why won't he answer my question? I put a question in 17 times and he didn't answer it. And then as I'm scrolling through the questions, there's this question 17 times because of the guy that, it's usually a guy. What else? I was I did some pioneering stuff back in the early days of the web. I started one of the first online magazines and one of the early digital agencies called agency.com. And why I mention that is the parallels between what was happening in the early days of the web and what's happening with this in the early days of generative AI are like fascinating and amazing. And it feels like a very similar major shift that's happening that we're at the very beginning of. So back in the early days of the web, the internet had been around for a bunch of decades, but it was mostly used by scientists and researchers and universities. And then the World Wide Web came along, and all of a sudden, us regular people got to play with it and was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And similarly with AI, it's been around for a bunch of decades, and Google invents this thing called the transformer in 2017, and that was a lot of years ago, and it's a scientific paper called Attention is All You Need, and that ends up becoming the pivotal technology that lays the foundation for Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT and all of this super sexy stuff we get to play with. And so it's a very similar thing. And one of the differences is the speed of adoption. So the World Wide Web took about 6 years to get from 0 to 100 million users. ChatGPT, 6 weeks. So anyway, all right, let me go answer some questions. Stop babbling, Kyle. Answer my question. I've got questions. All right, let's see what your questions are. Best AI app. The reason I put these URLs up on screen in my fancy little double camera window is that I think right now, and probably for a lot of years, just start learning ChatGPT. The depth of its capability is insane. So chat.openai.com is the official ChatGPT website. You don't need an app. Most of the apps out there are fakers. There's one official ChatGPT app on iOS. There's not one for Android yet. So don't download any of that shit. Just point your browser at that. I don't get paid for this like I should. Hey, ChatGPT, if you're listening, hook me up, baby. You know what? Give me Code Interpreter. That would be payment enough. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a second. So that's that. Bing.com is GPT-4, but for free. It's Microsoft's chat bot that uses OpenAI's GPT-4, and it's connected to the internet. So if you don't want to pay $20 a month to OpenAI to get their version of ChatGPT-4, then you use Bing.com. And then Poe.com gives you access to a bunch of different models. And I did something really cool today. So one of the models you have access to, let me chatbot just like ChatGPT, except it's got all these different models. So Sage is Poe's model. Then you got GPT-4, Claude Plus, Claude Instant 100,000. I'm going to show you that in a second. You got Claude Instant, which is ripping fast, and you got ChatGPT. These three that say subscribed, you have to pay for, but this one in particular, well, don't look at that yet. Okay, we're going to clear this context. So here's what happens with 100,000. Okay, here's what that means. The 100K in this case means 100,000 tokens. What's that mean? Well, with ChatGPT, you have 4,000 tokens, which for whatever reason, they call them tokens instead of words. So 4,000 tokens translates into about 3,000 words. It's a geek thing. The geeks decided to call them tokens because technically that's what's going on, but realistically it's 3,000 words. So 100,000 tokens means 75,000 words. So with ChatGPT, if you have a really long document and you like paste it in there, ChatGPT goes like, yeah, I can't do it. I don't wanna. It just can't deal with it. But 100,000, you could take, say, a novel or a screenplay and pop it in there. So what I did earlier was I went to a site. Here's the script of The Godfather. So I'm going to copy that. And then I can just go in here into this little chat window. This is just mind-blowing to me. All right. Based on this screenplay, and then I'm going to hit Shift Return to make some line breaks. I'm going to paste. And what I pasted in was all of The Godfather, right? So this is Mario Puzo's screenplay. So pages and pages and pages, right? ChatGPT would absolutely choke on this. Wait, okay, now I'm at the end. Now, based on this, okay, please create a table of the main characters in Markdown and provide and tell me what happens to them and on, I don't know if this has got pages. Let's see. What happens to them and how far into the story? Let's see what that does. So it just read all of The Godfather. And now it's thinking, those three little dots, waiting, wait for it. Calm down, people. Still waiting. and it is building us a table. It's fucking insane. It's just insane. All right, let's see. Don Vito Corleone was shot by Salozzo but survives. Michael eventually takes over the family. Don Vito passes away later in the story. Michael Corleone initially stays out of the business, but he's dragged into it after Sonny is killed. Sonny, he's killed in an orchestrated hit, right? So you can take incredibly long documents and just start interacting with it. And the other cool thing about this is what Claude does here is it kind of senses that these are main characters. So, you can't really see it. These are different colors. Michael Corleone is a hyperlink. And if I click on that, it says, tell me more about Michael Corleone. So it writes a prompt for me. And now it's going to go tell me about Michael Corleone. Wild, huh? All right. That's that. So the question was, what are the cool tools? So you could just start with ChatGPT or Poe 100K or what is it? Claude 100K from Anthropic. You could probably spend the next decade figuring out amazing shit to do with it. In terms of images, Midjourney is the best in my opinion. If you like geeking out, then Stable Diffusion lets you do, like the developer community is just going nuts on Stable Diffusion, but you got to geek out a little bit to use it. Those are the two image things. I just did my first Runway ML Gen 2, if you haven't heard of that. So that was my first attempt. I described it as... I don't know, woman in a flowing white dress, walking through a field of flowers with a gentle breeze and a cinematic tracking shot. And that's what it generated in about, 30 seconds. So that's pretty cool to play with. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots. Start with ChatGPT, start there, and then all will be revealed to you. All right, what's the best AI that's already trained you can install on a server? Honest to God, there are so many open source large language models. They're being released like every 3 days, and like each one's topping the one before it. There's a thing called GPT for all, and I think what it does is it installs a bunch of shit on your server and gives you access to multiple different models. So I think a project like that where someone else is keeping track of all those large language models is probably the way to go. So look up GPT for all. Do you do Twitter Spaces? I have not yet, but I probably could and should. I don't know. I like being able to see shit and show shit, but that's probably not a bad idea. I don't know. I might also put together a a workshop to actually teach people how to do stuff, but I don't know. I got a company to run, people. I can't just be sitting here on TikTok being a goddamn influencer. I mean, look at me. I'm like a handsome Rosie O'Donnell. Oh God. All right. Thanks, Kyle. I'm using GPT-4, but it's not connected to real-time data. Yes, it is. What am I missing? Okay. Let's go turn this shit on. What OpenAI decided to do was make it so convoluted and complex to get to that you just can't figure it out. Okay, so you're at ChatGPT. If you've paid for your $20 a month and have ChatGPT, you'll see GPT-4 there. But what you probably haven't done, you have to go to your settings. So go to settings, and then within your settings, the second choice down here is beta features. Turn on the beta features, and you have to explicitly turn on browse with Bing and plugins. Once you do that, now when you roll over GPT-4, you've got 3 different options. You've got the default option, which is not connected to the internet and frustrating as fuck because all the data ends at September 2021. Then you have browse with Bing. So this one is... Who won the Nuggets game last night? And if you've been watching my lives, you're probably thinking, come up with another example, Kyle. That's dumb. You keep saying the Nuggets. But it knows it doesn't know that. So it goes to browse the web. And it rewrote the prompt for me. And it says the Denver Nuggets won in the game 108-95. They held Miami to less than 100. Woo woo! I'm in Denver, by the way. Don't give two shits about basketball, but hey, I'm a fair weather fan where you're in the finals, I'll root for you. And I don't care about Miami, so, you know. Yeah, mailman's here. Mail. Champ, come on, calm down. Calm down. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. Lay down. That's a good boy. All right. Hey. All right, so 25 years ago, I had some really poorly behaved dogs, and we got a dog trainer. And what I learned when we got a dog trainer was that they don't train the dog. They train the humans. And you have to do shit like don't let them jump on the furniture. And, you know, it's basically on you for having a dog that's not poorly behaved. And so I made a decision about 25 years ago. Oh, I'm just going to have shitty behaved dogs all my life because I don't have boundaries, certainly when it comes to pets. All right. Oh, no. TikTok's just jumped me down. This is one of the when I do my lives, most of my time is spent trying to find myself in the comments. It looks like there's some new people here. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'll answer your questions about generative AI. I'll make jokes. I cuss. What else do I do? I don't know. These URLs right here are just there kind of as a public service announcement. The top one is ChatGPT. The next one down is Bing, which is GPT-4 that you can use for free. And Poe gives you access to multiple models that you can compare. So that's super cool and fun. Okay. How do you think AI will change research? Fundamentally, it will change it, I think, forever, because it's kind of instant. Like the thing I just did, I don't know if you're here a minute ago, where I used Poe, the Claude 100,000 and then it automatically created a table of all the characters and what happens to them in the screenplay. Like you can read and summarize a screenplay. So think about, there are a lot of human beings on a planet whose job it is to read screenplays and create what's called coverage for a screenplay. So they hand it to the execs. You could absolutely automate that. So a screenplay comes in, you run it through this thing, it creates automatic coverage. It will probably even score it based on quality, uniqueness, what genre it's in, things like that, instantly. You know, same thing for research. And now that, now that GPT-4 is connected to the internet, you can basically just point it at big data sets. And then you've got this new thing coming out called Code Interpreter, which I don't have access to, and I'm very bitter about that. But it's a new mode of ChatGPT, and you can upload giant data sets to it, and it does full-on data analysis, including creating graphs and charts and things like that. It's amazing. So it's going to fundamentally alter it. So, here's the thing. A lot of the work that we do in today's world is doing kind of low-value processing, right? So if I read screenplays for a living, I have to take a number of hours to just basically get to understand what the story's about, who the characters are, what the main arcs are. Well, if I can do that in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or if I can automate it to just do it when a screenplay comes in, it generates that report. Now I can use my brain for higher level stuff. So now I might, rather than considering, 10 screenplays, I might consider 100 screenplays. And I might really sort of mix and match them and compare them in a different way. So it's not like research goes away or, screenwriter coverage goes away. It's that the job completely changes. And I think that's what all of us are going to face in all knowledge work, all creative professions. It is not that, the AI is coming to take our jobs. It's that as human beings learn to use these incredibly powerful tools, the jobs will change. And then so Paul Raitzer, who runs the Marketing AI Institute, says, AI will not take your job, but someone using AI will, right? So the purpose of this channel is to encourage you to like go there, start playing, get curious about this stuff. If you do a particular job, if you're a researcher, start figuring out how these tools can augment your work, and then that will serve you incredibly well. Sit still. No, I have ADD. This is how it is. You're not babbling. That's what ADHD meds do. I'm not on ADHD meds. Midjourney versus Stable Diffusion. Midjourney. However, Stable Diffusion has a lot more development going into it because it's all open sourced. So if you want to geek out, like if you're technical and you don't mind going to GitHub and installing things on Google Colab and, virtual machines and shit like that, Stable Diffusion's amazing. There's a lot of tools there. I still don't think the quality of Stable Diffusion is as good as Midjourney. Both of them, however, have been trained on copywritten images. So using Midjourney and Stable Diffusion for commercial work, especially if like you're an agency doing it on behalf of a client, there's a risk that at some point someone's going to get sued for using that by one of the artists whose data was trained. So Adobe, their Firefly product, while it's not anywhere near as good from a just raw quality standpoint as those other ones, it's only been trained on open source, public domain, and Adobe stock images that they own all the rights to. And they actually 2 days ago announced Adobe Firefly for Enterprise. So Firefly is their generative AI product. So they're now making it safe for companies to use that. So if you're in a commercial environment, I'd use Adobe Firefly just because it's safe, and that's going to be their intent. They're allowing artists to opt out, opt in. They're going to be doing attribution and compensation. So, how different is 3 to 4? For GPT, the difference between 3.5 and 4, 3.5 is much faster. So if you need speed, 3.5 is like wicked fast. If you need nuance in language, GPT-4 is staggeringly good. It's just way better. Apparently, it codes better as well. If you're doing coding, apparently GPT-4 is much better at coding. But GPT-3 is not bad. Like my big epiphany with ChatGPT was writing a Python application in like 90 minutes. I've never written a line of Python in my life. And I created a functional, very sophisticated application in 90 minutes with GPT 3.5. So it's good. Pay the $20. Have you used the new GPT plugins? Yeah, I have. They're good. They're so let me show you how to do the plugins. So basically the way it works is you have to pay for GPT Plus. You have to enable the beta features in your settings, and then you have access to browse with Bing and plugins. So if you go to plugins, you now have this drop-down menu, and here are the plugins I've got installed. So you can install as many as you want, but you can only activate up to 3 per session. So the way I've kind of thought of it is you basically group together related plugins. It might be 1 or 2 or 3. And what you're doing is creating kind of a custom application. So let me see. Okay, I did something last night. So I'm gonna turn on experiences, and then I'm gonna turn on get your guide, and I'm gonna turn off ask your PDF, and I'm gonna turn off link reader, and I'm gonna turn on trip.com. Okay, so I've got 3. Wait, no, I don't. Now I have 3. Okay. I have 3 travel-related plugins installed, right? Okay, so now I can go down here and say, I'm going to be in Florida in the Tampa area for 5 days in September. Make me a detailed itinerary of day and evening activities. I like to fish. listen to music, and eat like a pig. All right. So now it's thinking, and it should, yeah, so it says using Get Your Guide, so it fires off one of the plugins, and then each of these plugins, you can open it and see what it did. So it said Tampa, Florida fishing tours, so it pulled fishing out of there, so it got some results. And then it did Tampa, Florida music activities, cool. And then it did Tampa, Florida food and gourmet tours. And so it took all of those responses and it said, here's your detailed trip. You know, start with a private inshore fishing in Tampa Bay. Book here, it says. Let's click on book here. Sometimes it will give you hyperlinks that are broken. Nope, that's not broken. So I can go book that trip, right? So I didn't have to Google finding some dude or dudette that, you know, takes you out on fishing trips. Afternoon, after a morning of fishing, enjoy a leisurely lunch at a local seafood restaurant. And that I can tell it to book me that. Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. So, and there's the, you know, little links it has. So that's plugins for you. So like what I've just created in whatever that was, a minute or two, was a little specialized travel application. And this is, I think this is what we're going to start seeing is that really specialized and personalized applications, you'll be able to generate them for yourselves kind of in real time. And I've even heard that kind of the next iteration of plugins is you won't have to manually turn them on like I just did. Like it'll just figure that shit out. It'll basically know the entirety of the plugin universe, and when you ask it to do something, if it finds a plugin that can do it better than its large language model, it'll use it. What book do I recommend for a good foundation on AI? If you want to learn about the underpinnings, the machine learning, and how all this stuff works, I would probably go to MIT or Stanford, like online courses, and take an online course because they're going to be the most up to date. If you're just talking about this generative AI stuff, there's not going to be a good book on it right now. It's too new. It's too early. So just get curious, go there and start playing, start digging in, start watching YouTube videos, start watching TikTok videos of people that you trust. Rachel Woods, she's got a thing called the AI Exchange, and she does TikTok. She's really good. There's a guy named Mackenzie Bowes who's got an app called GPT Boss, which is a kind of overlay on top of GPT-4. It's pretty slick. He's got a good TikTok channel. If you want to geek out, there's a guy on YouTube named David Shapiro who's building autonomous agents, and he's got a whole open source project doing that. He's fucking wicked smart. When I want to feel humbled and stupid, I watch David Shapiro. I'm like, oh, I could do this, and then I watch him, I'm like, I can't do this. Did you know I have a degree in acting? Yeah. I act smart. It's processor measurement. Okay, I don't know what that means. What book would you recommend? Holy cow, I was looking for something like this. Like this? Hi. Nice to meet you, Victor. All right, I have paid version and wrote basic code to help automate time-consuming part of my job. Yes, do that. Here is my feeling. There is a very real possibility. There was a paper put out by Mark Andreessen, who created Netscape. He was one of the early pioneers of the internet, of the interwebs. He just wrote a really long paper on how he thinks that generative AI or AI is going to be the salvation of humanity, not the death of it. And things like that, things like using AI to automate the shitty parts of your job. Imagine a future where all of the jobs that are the soul crushing, you're a cog in a wheel, and you can't believe you fucking do this for a living, and you live for Friday, and you live for the weekend, and goddamn, you hate your job. What if all those jobs were automated out? And you got to choose what you wanted to do. That's a possibility of a future that we're living into. And so the sooner that you learn what these tools can do and start to do things like what's your name? Superfluous Honey, awesome name, by the way. If you start doing what she's doing, okay, here's the downside. Everything's going to fucking change. Everything's going to be disrupted. If you think you're immune from this, you're not. The upside of it is every single one of us has an opportunity to reinvent ourselves in dramatically positive ways if we choose to do it. But you got to step in and do it. You got to get curious. You got to be willing to go to the uncomfortable place of, oh fuck, I got to learn something new. Really? Yep. Because if you don't, someone else will. And it's not necessarily just going to be the young kids that know how to use the internet. It's going to be old fucks like me, Gen Xers that are like, this is fucking cool, man. Reinvent themselves and all of a sudden have superpowers again. That's coming. Think we have synergies. Cool. Connect with me. My contact info is in my bio, and you can DM me, and I've got contact info up there, and you can join the AI Salon that I do. There are so many opportunities. Based on tokens, you said, on this platform to download this. Thank you. Yes, I don't quite know what I said there, and I don't quite know what you mean, but awesome. Amazing. Thank you. What book do you recommend? I don't, for good foundation on AI. I don't know of any. I have ADD. I can't read. All right. Kind of concerning too. Yeah. So here's my thoughts on all this AI stuff. I am more excited than I've been in decades, and I'm more terrified than I've been in decades. And that feels like the appropriate balance to me. That if you're too excited about it or if you're too scared about it, both of those are bad. You should have a healthy balance. Like, life is about balance. Total excitement and joy and shocking horror. That's what AI is right now for me. And I think that's the appropriate thing. All right. Duke, dude, stop asking questions. I love these lives. Thank you. LLMs need a lot of graphics memory. Won't work on my laptop. Oh, that's changing real quick. Just go to Twitter and look up open source LLM. They're coming out like every 3 days. Increasingly optimized large language models you can install on like an M1 Mac. There's one that someone did that can be installed on a phone. So the developer community is taking the llama models that Meta accidentally released to the world. They might have accidentally released them, but they did. They released them to the world. So now the entire developer community has these core models that cost millions of dollars to create, and they're fine-tuning them and optimizing them and making installs for Macs and PCs and things like that. So just go look at the open source stuff. There's a lot there. You may need to geek out a little bit to get it installed, but it's getting easier every day. Handsome Rosie O'Donnell, thank you. All right. Duke, what book would you recommend? Duke, I've already answered you. I'm asking the question. Oh, Duke. I use Bing for basic AI. Yeah, Bing's pretty good. Thanks. Been pulling out my hair, and I don't have enough as it is. Yeah, exactly. I look much smarter now because my forehead is so much larger. It's just the hair just keeps going, and then yeah. The glue's holding pretty good today. It's not a total disaster. After the Apple launch, Tim Apple went on morning TV to talk AI. Zuck went on Lex podcast on VR. Yeah, Zuck did one of those. Yeah, well, whatever Apple introduced wasn't very impressive. Howdy, partner. How you doing today? Zuck is in a little bit of a defensive posture because Apple they didn't use the word metaverse once, they didn't use the word AI once, and they introduced some really revolutionary technology. And somehow, mysteriously, they took a thing that is form factor wise and from a technical perspective essentially identical to every other goggle out there, and they somehow successfully redefined that as this new thing called spatial computing. It's amazing, and there's apparently 5,000 patents in those glasses. So they're $3,500, so they're really expensive. But what they do and the level of integration of AI and machine learning and all of that stuff within them is remarkable. The other thing that they do is they do all their AI processing in the goggles themselves. They're not sending it off to some other servers. So they're going to win the privacy game. I think they're going to win the spatial computing. That will be a new thing that they will have invented, and then I think they're gonna win the the autonomous agents, where within the Apple ecosystem it will just learn all about you, and you'll just say, hey, oh, you don't say hey Siri anymore. You'll say, Siri, book me a trip to Florida, give me a 5-day itinerary, and get me the cheapest tickets, and make sure that they're cancelable, and it'll just go off and do it for you. I think they're going to be brilliant at that. I need a notebook. I've written too many sticky notes with the info you've shared. Go get a notebook. They sell them now. You can get them at like drugstores. You can get them. You go to Target, or we call it Target because it's fancier than Kmart used to be. They sell them. There's office supply stores. They sell them. They sell pens. It's remarkable. It's all AI generated too. I am a smartass, by the way. Some might call me an asshat. Give me another hat. I'll talk like a cowboy. All right, I lost my place in the questions again. Trying to find where I was. This is one of my hobbies, scrolling through TikTok. Okay, there's Emilio's wife talking about the need for a notebook. That's really funny and awesome. I use Creative TikTok hat. Yeah. Creative Fabrica Spark for my AI artwork. It's free and it's easy. Cool. Built my own autonomous agent on GPT-4, but keep hitting token limits. Any tips? Nope. If Anthropic, so if Claude 100K is available via API, which I assume it is because Poe's using it, I would use Anthropic's Claude 100K, or there's a MPT-7B has a 65,000 token model called Story Maker or Story, I don't know. Look up MPT-7B 65K. Here, I'll go do it now for you. MPT-7B 65K. Or I did SK. Okay. MPTB beats GPT-4 to... This is also commercially usable. So that's an option. And then the Claude Instant 100K is an option. And it's got much larger token limits. The other thing you can do if you're hitting token limits is install LangChain. And you'll have to do some programming, but basically you take large documents and you break them up into sections, and then you embed them, and then you put those vectors into a vector database, and it gets really geeky really quick. But you can either use larger token limit models like the ones I just talked about, or you can install LangChain and start to learn about doing all your data, or you can wait 3 months is my guess. This is total speculation. And Microsoft will roll all this GPT stuff within Office 365, and Google's going to roll Bard across all of their Office things. And I would be dramatically shocked if you couldn't just point those things at your cloud stuff and query them. So it's coming. I currently work in QA, but I want to get into AI. Any advice on what routes I should take? That's a sweet little heart. Hello, thank you. I think my advice for everyone in any profession is learn as much as you can about how AI will be used to replace your job as a QA person, right? So it's going to be able to do things like create testing regimens. And in a lot of cases, if not all of the cases, it'll actually be able to go test them. So what I would do is I would go to ChatGPT and I would start writing your own, like have it help you create testing frameworks. Just start using ChatGPT to augment your job and amplify what you already do, and figure out how quickly can you build tools that do what you do. Because if you're able to do that with that, I guarantee you there's a couple of punks sitting in their mom's basement right now writing that tool. So at some point, someone's going to release a tool that's like the QA, testing button, and I'll be able to upload my iOS app and my Android app and go test this. And it will not only test it, it will analyze the code, and it'll say, okay, here are the 3 race conditions you have. Here are the 16 syntax errors you have in the code. By the way, I fixed all the syntax errors. I fixed 2 of the 3 race conditions, and you have a decision to make on the 3rd race condition. Do you want to give up this feature or give up that feature, or do you want to completely refactor that section of the app? Like, that tool is coming. It ain't here yet, but I would strongly encourage you to start to figure out how to replace yourself. In doing that, you'll get much, much better at your job, and you'll be able to identify when the tools are coming at you that are going to hit everyone else by surprise. Do I partner with others? Sure. I'm the CEO of a company called Storyvine, so I'm happy to talk about anything. I'm in less of one. For the first 3 months of this year, I was in a just say yes to everything mode. Now I have overcommitted pretty significantly on a lot of stuff, but I'm very open to projects because there's so much going on. Am I a robot? I am GPT-5. Thank you very much. You thought GPT-4 was cool. Check this out. Yeah. All right. Hello from West Palm Beach, Florida. Hello, Isabel. Favorite plugins? I haven't played with a ton of them. I mean, the ones that are just sort of clear and obvious to me, like Link Reader and Chat with PDF, like PDF readers and link readers are really powerful. That's just super cool. But you can kind of do that with just GPT-4 connected to the internet. But I like those plugins. They're just very, very specific. I mean, I don't do a lot of trip planning, but if I did do a lot of trip planning, I'd like all of those. I don't know right now. I haven't used them enough. And there's a lot of them. And it's like I said, I mean, it is daunting enough getting your head around what GPT-4 makes possible, much less what GPT-4 plus 260 micro applications that you can wield within a context of some sort of app you've conceived. So I've been watching all your videos and reading your newsletter in the past 2 days. Mind blowing. Thank you, Jen. That's awesome. Oh yeah, I've seen your comments. I appreciate the engagement. That's cool. I'm glad it's making a difference. I think you said last night, didn't you say like you were really high? You're like, I'm really high, and this is blowing my mind. This shit blows your mind when you're not high. I think there will become black spots in human knowledge when trading data is selectively excluded. The training data being selectively excluded kind of lives in the conspiracy theory that 2 or 3 mega corporations are going to control everything. Because the open source genie has been let out of the bottle, because there are so many open source models now, and understanding how to train the large data sets is much more broadly understood now. It's possible that can't happen. Now, could a country say it's illegal to use open source large language models? Yeah, possibly. Will that stop people that really want to use them? No. So, I don't see that happening now. But listen, everything's up for grabs because this is. I mean, here's the deal about these technologies. These are by far the most powerful technologies ever put in the hands of regular everyday people. Like the level of power that you have in your hands, even with a safety guardrail GPT-4 is significantly beyond what I think any government is comfortable having their people have access to. And then if you take the large language models, or you take off the guardrails, there's a lot of people in power. There's a lot of power centers that are about to be upended. So I'll give you an example of an area that I know pretty well. I started an early agency, and I sold it to Omnicom. So I know the agency holding company model pretty well. I think that the billable hour business model, the time and materials model that all holding companies are based on, I think that's about to blow up. I think clients are going to start demanding fixed pricing, which is going to destroy the top line and profits of holding companies. They're going to have to completely reinvent their business model. So when big power centers get disrupted like that, powerful people are going to do some shit to try to control us plebes. So, you're not necessarily wrong that the big power centers are going to try to do that. Now, whether or not they can successfully do that, that's a different thing. I mean, the only way that you can really stop this AI stuff, in my opinion, if you actually wanted to stop it, is throw an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. Throw some EMP bombs that destroy all the computers. But they're not going to do that because that destroys all the economies, right? So I don't think it's going to go away. All right, just like a marketing agency, will there be a need for an AI agency teaching businesses how to use AI? Certainly short term. This is so all of these new technologies go through the same phases. Like I went through this with the World Wide Web. We went through this with smartphones. We went through this with social media. Now we're going to go through it with AI. So it initially starts out like, it's a fad. It's a phase. We're going to get over it. Oh, the dot-com bubble burst. The internet's over. We're never going to use the internet now. Don't invest in the internet. It was all a waste of time. Nothing to look at here. And then it fucking transformed everything, right? Same thing's happening here. So the first phase is they dismiss it. The second phase is they try to destroy it. The third phase is they try to protect from it, right? So universities using ChatGPT detectors. What if the students use it to write papers? Oh my God. Well, it's going to be in Microsoft Word. It's going to be in Google Docs. Everyone's going to fucking use this for everything. So that's that. The next phase is we need a czar of AI. Oh, you know how to spell AI? You're the VP of AI. They put it in a corner and they make someone go figure this out for us. And it's off to the side. And like social media, like we were talking about integrating digital in 1996. And a lot of big agencies and big companies are just now starting to integrate digital fully into business, right? It's fully a part of business, but a lot of them still have these digital centers of excellence where it's off to the side. So you're going to absolutely see that. But the tools are going to very quickly, I think much more quickly than just digital did. They're going to inundate all the processes of businesses because it's so much more efficient. It's so much more powerful. So I think short term, probably for the next 3 to 5 years, you could have a very good business teaching businesses how to incorporate AI and not just how to incorporate it, how to deal with the implications of it. Like I think that might be an area. There's sort of tactical, teach them how to use it, but there's how do you deal with if you're a holding company and you rely on the time and materials business model and you can scenario plan out, it's not going to be that many years until we can't do that anymore. Well, what do you fucking do? Do you go first? Do you say, fuck it, we're going to go to fixed pricing and we're going to beat all the other holding companies to the punch? That's a possibility. So AI will be used as a tool, not something that will take over jobs. Well, so AI, absolutely. AI is a tool. Microsoft has branded their AI Copilot, which feels like the right branding to me. Like that's the right positioning. It feels like the right definition. Humans are the pilot. AI tools are the co-pilot. They happen to be incredibly fucking capable co-pilots. Like I guarantee you that AI can land a plane in wind shear at some point, maybe not right now, but it's gonna be able to land a plane in wind shear better than a human pilot. But as long as human lives are at stake, human pilots will still be in charge for many years to come, right? It's going to take many, many years for that to happen. But it's a tool. AI will not take jobs. People using AI will take jobs, and jobs will transform. Think anywhere where you've got incredibly complicated processes and you have people's whose job it is to deal with the complexity of the thing. So think insurance underwriting, think legal research, think I don't know, anywhere where you've got incredibly complicated systems. Like medical paperwork, patient records right now, incredibly complicated because the insurance companies tell you have to put in all these codes, right? And that's mostly manual and getting more digital, but that's going to quickly move to fully AI automated, right? So that's where you're going to see the biggest disruption is jobs that are ultimately low value to the company but have to get done, right? So what's going to happen? Some companies will just fire all those people, right? And that's what will make the nightly news. The smarter companies will say, oh, I don't have to pay these 10,000 people to manually read faxes anymore, right? I can just have AI do that. What if I train them up to be super high-level customer service people? We get rid of our offshore customer service call centers because they're clueless anyway. Like no matter how much we train them up, it's a horrible experience and they never have the answers anyway. We replace them with AI, and then we take the people that were doing this low level, document processing, and we train them to be high level customer service people. So the AI will take the initial call. You'll never be put on hold. You'll always be talking to a robot that's way more capable than the current customer service people are. And it will know when it needs to escalate your issue to someone up here. If it can't solve it, it'll escalate it. So you'll call, someone will pick up the phone, you'll talk to them, it'll be useful. If you have a truly unique problem, you'll get escalated immediately and you can talk immediately. So we don't know right now what the new jobs are going to be, but there's going to be all sorts of new jobs created. But the short-term 2 to 3 year window where all of this automation happens is going to be radically disruptive. It's going to be really painful. It's going to suck. How will this affect electronic discovery? Can it be used for early case assessments? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I just did, if you weren't here earlier, I did. So let's go get a legal brief. I don't know anything about the law. Legal brief examples. Okay. Whoa, lots of them. Okay. I don't know. Are any of these long? I assume some of these are long. I don't know what this is. Wait, legal brief. Let's see. Legal brief. Let's do Supreme Court PDF. Let's see what we get there. Is this this is bad interface, Bing. Visit site. Oh, sorry. Just looking up my nose. Okay. Is this long? Yeah, it's pretty long. Okay, so I'm going to do select all there and then copy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Poe. So Poe's got this thing called Claude Instant 100K. So this is 100,000 token. 100,000 token large language model. So it's like ChatGPT, except you can paste in up to 75,000 words. So I'm going to go over here. And I have to, this is for the subscription version of Poe.com to get access to this, but I'm going to clear my context history, and I'm going to say, based on this legal brief, paste. So I just pasted in all of the brief. And then I'm going to go, please summarize this, I guess, case. Let's say this document, because I don't know anything about law, as if I were a 7th grader writing a report. Give me markdown formatted bullets if appropriate. All right. So now it just read that whole document and didn't jump down to the bottom. So we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. We'll get there. Oh, it's going to be so good. Jesus, this was a long document. Okay. So here's a summarized version of the legal brief in bullet points. IFC is an international organization owned by 104 member countries. In 1945, Congress passed a thing. IFC was designated as an international thing. Indian nationals who live near an IFC-financed power plant are claiming that the plant caused them harm, right? So this wrote a summary of that thing. So I don't know enough about the world of law and legal, but the fact that I just took a Supreme Court legal briefing and summarized it that quickly, yeah, I think that changes things. I could be wrong, but if little old me could understand what the hell was just going on there, it looks like the number of people here are kind of dwindling. So I'll either go, but like tap the screen a bunch. And if you can share this live. If you know how to do that, I don't know how to do that. Just so we can get some more people in here. Otherwise, I'll just take off. OpenAI has gotten about 75% of my coding questions wrong. I would say go to GitHub Copilot, which is GPT-4 that's dedicated to coding. That's probably going to be better. And if you're not using GPT-4, I understand that GPT-4 is way better than GPT 3.5. You might also try Bard. So bard.google.com is really fucking horrible for writing, for language stuff, but apparently it's strong at code. So I would also say give Bard a shot. Work with time, 100% true. Not sure what I said. I know OpenAI, but what are the other sites? Oh, so Bing.com is Microsoft's search engine, but it also has a button. You find a little button and you push the little button. It's so exciting. All right. So you go to Bing.com and it has this new little button, and the new little button's called Chat. And Chat is GPT-4. That's like ChatGPT, but it's GPT-4 and it's free and it's connected to the internet. And then it's got like a couple of modes. It's got more creative, more precise. So if you're doing research, go to more precise. If you're doing, writing a screenplay or the great American novel, go to more creative. So that's Bing. And then Poe is the thing I just showed with that legal document. Poe gives you access to a bunch of different models. Sage is Poe's model. And the company behind Poe is Quora, right? So the question and answer site that's been, doing Q&A for decades. They took all that data. And so Sage is Poe's large language model. You got GPT-4. You got Claude Plus, which is Anthropic's version of GPT-4. You've got Claude Instant 100K, which is the thing where you can put in giant documents. Claude Instant is like GPT 3.5 and ChatGPT's GPT 3.5. The other thing you can do on Poe is you can make your own bots. So like I made a Shakespeare bot and a Yoda bot and a Sling Blade bot and a Emily Dickinson bot. So you can make your own bots, which is kind of fun. It's a good way to practice your prompt crafting. And then the other two URLs, prompts.chat, is just a document that will teach you about prompting and then gives you like hundreds, if not thousands of prompts that you can try, like act as a legal assistant or a paralegal, act as a novelist, act as a mathematician, which surprisingly actually makes ChatGPT work better. And then Futurepedia is just a directory of massive, massive amounts of tools, AI tools. So if you want to go see all the video tools and the music tools and the whatever, there is right now an infinite amount of things to explore. And so what I've personally done is I've just kind of locked myself down to this shit plus the image generation tools that I like, which right now is Midjourney. All the other stuff, I don't have the time to play with. But you can, if you want to run down a rabbit hole, like I do strongly suggest, like if you're a musician, go find all of the music tools out there, figure which ones are good, which ones are bullshit, and then like just start learning that corner of the AI industry. It will serve you well. Are you a gamer on Steam at all? No. Well, I'm a sim racer. I like sim racing. It's good for my ADD. It's like left, right, stomp the gas. But any sort of games that require attention and learning, not so good. But I've not been on Steam. How do you see AI affecting education, schools in particular? If they don't quickly get their shit together and stop resisting this and start embracing it, they're going to quickly find themselves out of students. Because, well, not quickly. These are big institutions. They're going to take for fucking ever to change. But the whole resisting that this is coming is a futile resistance. And there's a real opportunity for teachers to reinvent how they engage with students, drive a lot more critical thinking. So rather than saying you can't use ChatGPT to write a paper, why don't we bring ChatGPT into the classroom, have it write a paper, and then have the students analyze what ChatGPT wrote and figure out what did it do good, what did it do wrong, where did it hallucinate, how would you do it better? Really demonstrate your knowledge of the thing by analyzing a thing that the tool made. And in doing that, you'll get better at using the tool, right? Because these tools are going to be everywhere. So I think the effect is going to be dramatic. If you want to see a really cool thing, so this was cool before AI. So Khan Academy, Sal Khan's Khan Academy, where he's got this idea of flipping the classroom, where like you do the learning part out of the classroom, you do the engaging part in the classroom. Like I think we're moving there. They got access to GPT-4 back in August of 22. So they spent 6 or 7 months refining the experience, and they created this thing on Khan Academy called Khanmigo, which is a clever name, but it's basically a teaching assistant that will use Socratic reasoning. Like if you just ask it to answer a question for you, it won't. It will query you and go back and forth with you and teach you the concepts, and it won't move on until it has you have demonstrated to it that you understand the concepts sitting underneath the thing. So I think the impact on education is going to be quite profound, and I think educators that are resisting it need to get their heads out of their asses. Have I run into any tools for instructional design, such as creating how-tos? ChatGPT, GPT-4. Let's go to the video. Masterful at instructional design. I've done a lot of it, but I don't know shit about it. I don't know shit about it as a profession, but that's one of the things that ChatGPT is fucking masterful at. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to act as an instructional designer and help me design some coursework. The first thing I need to know is what are the main frameworks for creating instructional materials. Let's just call it that. Creating them requires a systematic approach. So there's the ADDIE model, there's the SAM model, successive approximation model. Well, of course there's that one, the SAM model. Everybody knows that. Well, Dick and Carey, right? They came up with a model. Bloom's taxonomy. You know, I haven't played with Bloom's taxonomy in like a week. Yeah. There's Kirkpatrick's 4-level training evaluation. Okay, there's a lot more of these than I had a fucking clue about. So there's 7 of them here. Gangi's 9 events of instruction. I'm gonna say okay. So I'm gonna say okay. Let's go with Gagny. Period. I want to teach a 1-hour generative AI overview for people in the marketing department that will move them from fear to curiosity. Please give me that outline. Sounds like an interesting session. That's one of the things about ChatGPT is it responds in a very human kind of way. I find myself like acknowledging it, like, "Hey, you did a good job there." I find myself using please and thank you as if I'm talking to just like a really capable intern. But okay, so what's it done? Gain attention, 5 minutes. Start the session with an intriguing question or a statement such as, imagine a world where AI can generate creative content for your marketing campaign. Show examples. Okay, that's cool. Inform learners of the objectives. We're going to state the objectives of what you're about to learn. Stimulate recall of a prior learning. What do you already know about AI in our marketing department? That the boss said we're not allowed to use ChatGPT, right? Whatever. Present the content. And then the content, introduction, case studies, benefits, challenges. Provide learner guidance, explain some possible first steps, elicit performance, provide feedback, assess performance, enhance retention and transfer, right? So there's the 9 steps of the Gagny approach, which I knew nothing about. They sound reasonable to me. They've blocked out the time for the hour. And now I'll just say, what if this were a 3-day session? What might the agenda look like? Boom. Expanding a 1-hour session into a 3-day session allows for more in-depth exploration of generative AI. Day 1. So it's doing the same 9-hour or the 9-segment Gagny approach, but it's just splitting it into 3 days and expanding it. Case studies and hands-on session. So now, are there other tools? There might be other tools that are specialized to instructional design. And if you want to find those, go to futurepedia.io and just type in instructional design. There might be some created for it. What you'll probably find is that you probably know more, like the tools that are going to be dedicated to this might not be all that exciting. I would go teach yourself how to do it with GPT-4. Okay, enough of mentioning Creative Fabrica Spark. Don't spam in here, please. Leonardo.ai I think is brilliant. A web front end to Stable Diffusion. I think it's still in preview though. Leonardo.ai. But I would encourage you, if you want to do image stuff, I would encourage you to get on the wait list for this, because it's hold, please. So it gives you lots of different models, so you can create images in these different models across the top. Like here's a vintage photography style, so I want to generate with this model. I don't want to tell you what role I am. I'm a professional. What? Oh, pop-ups make me cranky. All right, so I'm going to say a 70s muscle car. Oops, not a 702 muscle car. 70s muscle car on a winding mountain road, going fast. And so I picked a model that does vintage photography. So this should look like some vintage photograph of a 70s muscle car doing something. And I think it's decently fast. You're currently on the free plan. Yeah, there you go. So there's a bunch of, cars on windy mountain roads. That one looks pretty good. But I don't like that color. So I want to do 70s lime green muscle car on a mountain road going fast. I'm going to say cinematic motion blur. So sometimes adding things like that will help. But anyway, there's lots and lots of other things that Leonardo does. You can easily train if you've got photographs. Like I'm a photographer, so I uploaded a bunch of my sky photographs to it. It learned them, and now I can just call that style. So let's get our green car. So now here's our green car, right? So Leonardo's really good. I think it's awesome. That's a little weird looking. That sort of looks like a GTO Judge. That looks like an old Mustang. That looks like a 70 Mustang, 69 maybe, 70. That sort of looks like a cross between a Camaro, a Judge, and a Mustang. So anyway, yeah, I think it's good. Good call on the tool. All right, how do I feel about faceless videos using AI? How do I feel about faceless videos using AI? You mean like text videos? I don't quite know what you mean. I think all videos are going to use AI. I have a video technology company that has human beings tell their stories, and I am deeply exploring all of the avenues of AI, including what if we didn't need people, which my initial response to that was go fuck yourself, AI. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, we're going to have a competitor that comes up against us. Like where we go into a client and we can say, hey, you could have like 20 of your employees talk about how awesome it is to work here. Someone's going to come along with a product that says, I can take a picture of your employees, their employment record, and I can generate a video per person talking about how awesome it is to work here. And then all they have to do is sign off on it. Yes, I'm okay with you having my likeness, say that it's great to work here. That's going to be one of my competitors. So I should probably figure out how to do that shit. So here's the thing. It's almost irrelevant how I feel about it. This stuff is coming whether you want it or not. I think that's the thing that maybe why this channel exists, is that the disruption that this generative AI stuff is going to cause is coming whether you want it or not. What I'm choosing to do is stand on the surfboard on the tsunami rather than be on the cozy beach cottage, which is where we all are in our current jobs right now, which is terrifying. How can I beat AI detection programs? There's lots of ways to do that. It's basically you take something that was generated with ChatGPT, you throw it into something that rewrites it in a way that's not detectable. But that's a war that's going to go back and forth. Here's the deal. I think that's a very short-lived thing. If you're dealing with it, you're going to need to find ways. I don't know what the tools are because I don't give a shit about them, because when Microsoft includes generative AI in Office 365 and in Google does it in Google Docs, it's just gonna be in everything. Like those writing detection tools are gonna be just very short-lived, in my opinion. Who said that quote? AI won't take your job, but someone using it will. Paul Reitzer, Roetzer, from the Marketing AI Institute. You should follow him on LinkedIn. He posts good posts, and then you should listen to his podcast. They've got a weekly podcast where they sort of catch you up on the week of AI. What's cool about Paul and the Marketing AI Institute, it's like 5 or 6 years old. So he's been on this train since like the early days of like GPT-2, GPT-3. Like he's seen this coming. All of a sudden, since ChatGPT, he's way ahead of the curve. The thing about Paul and what they talk about there is, I just like every time I think, I kind of think it's going to go in this direction. I'll get on the podcast and he'll say, I think it's going to go in this direction. Like I feel like I'm personally very aligned, just in terms of kind of analyzing what's happening with what they're doing there. So I think he's a really good guy to follow. I'm looking for an AI to create gauge graph like fuel gauge. I assume we can just go back to Leonardo. Well, let's go to we'll do Leonardo. Let's see, classic fuel gauge face with black back and yellow tick marks. Modern. Well, I called it classic. So let's see. Updated design. I don't know, whatever that's called. Design. Let's see what that generates. Like any of the image generation tools, so what I would start teaching yourself is prompting, because the like where we're heading is what you effectively have to do with these tools is you have to be good at critical thinking and good at asking for stuff. So there's some fuel gauges, right? If that's not what you want, then you basically just describe what you do want. Now, you'll notice that the numbers and the words are messed up. These tools are not good with words and numbers yet. Like they're out of order, but you get the basic idea here. Right? So what did that take me? 30 seconds? So go start experimenting. The thing about these tools is they're so much more capable than I think they are. Like every time I try something new where I'm like, well, it probably doesn't. Oh shit. It does that good too. Best used for the link reader plugin. Have it go read the pages of your website and give you SEO. Well, there's SEO analysis tools out there. What I've been using it for is I'll take scientific white papers, or I'll take like a really complicated article and I'll turn that into a Twitter thread, or I'll turn that into a LinkedIn post, where it's not writing something new from scratch. It's like, read this long document and then summarize it for me in some interesting way. And as I get the prompts dialed in, like I have a Twitter thread maker right now that's fucking brilliant. Like it's not, what I did isn't brilliant, but the output of it is consistently like 95% complete. Like I don't need to edit much in it. And it takes me 30 seconds. Rather than having to read it for 20 minutes to 4 hours because of my ADD, and then go in and highlight the little pieces of it. What were the actual salient points here? Like I did a 15 segment Twitter thread on Mark Andreessen's, AI might save us thing. It was just brilliant at it. All right. Won't this only give you results through a previous year? Well, so the core model for ChatGPT stops at September 21, but GPT-4 connected to the internet, or Bing.com connected to the internet, do both. So they are. It does not stop there. How do I see AI affecting education? We covered that one. Instead of organizing a course, I prefer Zoom class where folks can ask questions and try ideas. That's not a bad idea. I might do that, Emilio's wife. I got to figure out how to set that up, but I can go ask ChatGPT to help me set that up. I had a podcast for a year where I used StreamYard. I just read that paper today. Yeah, it's a good paper. Salvation, like cleaning the planet from cancer. That kind of stuff's coming. Genetic diseases, cancer, it's going to start solving. Sam Altman was being interviewed once, and he said he thinks it's plausible that in a relatively short amount of time, we're going to have a single year where we accomplish as much scientifically as we have in the past 500. And if you want to do an interesting exercise, go to GPT-4 and have it make you a table of the top 30 or 40 scientific achievements in the past 500 years. And just look at all the stuff on that list. And you'll be like, oh, yeah. Oh, that was a big one. Oh, that was a big one. Oh, the polio vaccine, right? You just go down through them. Flight. And then imagine that all happening within a 1 year period. Like crazy. How can you vectorize large chunks of text and pass it as context to GPT-4? So you have to use something like LangChain. The good news about LangChain and these tools is that the developer community is making it easy to do that. Like I think you can install LangChain now in like, I don't know, 20 lines of code, or like it's some ridiculously stupid small amount of code. But you'll probably need to set up a virtual machine, and then you'll have a module that will chunk up your large pieces of data. It will embed it, it will vectorize it, then it'll put those vectors in a vector database, and then you'll be able to just interact with it like ChatGPT. I saw a thing on Twitter like 2 days ago that someone's created a company that is basically putting a front end on top of LangChain. So LangChain is the thing I would go explore there. But it's going to be geeky. Is there any AI that can grade my algebra students' worksheets? Probably just ChatGPT. So, yeah, it knows math. And ChatGPT with the Wolfram Alpha plugin, like if it's not doing accurate grading of the algebra worksheets. I guess one question I have is if you need it to like scan the visual and then grade it there, you're going to have to wait for it. So GPT-4 is multimodal. It can use pictures, but the current implementation of it can't. So you're just gonna have to wait a little bit if you want it to like look at like handwritten algebra. But if it's the kind of thing where it's in PDF form where you can just pop it in, you can probably do that right now. And there may be a tool, like I would say go to futurepedia.io and look up document analysis or like computer vision or something like that. There's probably apps right now that can do that. S3 photographer, and already trying to learn AI applications, loving Firefly. Yeah, Firefly is amazing. And so is generative fill in Photoshop. If you have not seen generative fill, let's see. Oh, no, that's not a fun one. Hang on. Let's go get this one. This is a fun one. So here we have some dude, some sailor dude in Times Square. And so I can just select this bottom white area. Oh, sorry. So there's the dude in Times Square. This was something I made in Midjourney. And so to get to this, if you've got Photoshop Creative Cloud, you go to beta apps and you download the Photoshop beta, and it's got this in it. So I just selected the bottom half of this image, and it pops up this contextual menu here. And on the left, this button says generative fill. And so I can put in here Lakers basketball shorts. And I'm going to say generate. And it should put shorts on this dude that are Lakers shorts. Well, it didn't do it, but like it gives us three options. Let's see. They're not Lakers. Okay, so it doesn't know what the Lakers are. So we'll say generative fill. We'll do yellow basketball shorts. Oops. Oh, dang it. Yellow basketball shorts with purple stripes. And so it's going off. It's thinking. We're thinking here, people. Give him some yellow shorts. Oh, those are funny. Where's my purple stripes? There's no purple in there. We don't have, I could keep messing with that, but that's funny. And then, up in the sky, we could do generative fill, large Godzilla attacking city. And it's thinking. Genius takes time, like at least 30 seconds. And it might not be genius. It might be funny. All right, there's no Godzilla there. Let's see if it gave us a Godzilla. It did not. Oh, there's one. There's a monster. So it's on top of the sign. So anyway, that's generative fill. If you haven't played with generative fill, it's just amazing. And then who was it that came out with it? Is it Stability? I think Stability came out with uncrop. So let's go play with that. Stability, uncrop. So Stability has a site called Clip Drop. So it's God dang it, clipdrop.co. And then and then you go slash, it's clipdrop.co/uncrop, which is a good brand name. And then what you do, it's exactly like what we just looked at, but it's a more simple implementation. It's pretty smart. Let me go to Finder. What's this picture? Oh, that's the video I made. Okay, here's one. So I'm going to just grab a picture here, and I'm going to drag it. I'm going to drag it into the little window. And so it gives me that. And so now I can grab these blue handles and I can just, expand them to, like, if I want this little version of me to be in a city, I can just hit next, and it will now uncrop that cropped image. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So there's one. Like, I didn't have to type anything. They put a weird hand there. But there's another one, and also with a weird hand. That's not a weird hand. Like it seems to, like, it does a really good job of inferring that this is like a futuristic sci-fi world. Like, that one's really good. Right? So I don't know, people. Everything's changing. Everything is changing. It's all changing. You should be excited and you should be terrified. You should be both. If you're not peeing your pants, then you should be pooping them. All right, Jarvis from Iron Man is coming. I agree. Yes, balance. Balance between excitement and fear. Is there any AI that can grade my algebra? I think we talked about that. Where is he reading comments from? Way, way, way earlier. I'm very behind because I sit on these things for like 2 hours. I tend to sit on these for 2 hours until my butt gets numb and I dehydrate myself because it's just how my personality works. And I also try to answer everyone's questions. So, that's just the shakes. I'm an old guy on TikTok. If you're expecting me to behave like a twerking 20-something, it ain't gonna happen. I'm a bitter Gen Xer, so fuck it. This is how it works. This is how we roll here at the AI Learning Lab. All right. Oh, it just jumped me to the bottom. LA Lakers, maybe? Yeah, maybe it'll do that, but I don't know. Ain't worth it. You can go figure out the how to get the actual LA Lakers. That would probably do it, but I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? I'm here to show the concepts. You guys can go do the brilliance. My level of brilliance is thin. I'm trying to find where I was in the questions, which this is one of my hobbies. When TikTok jumps me to the bottom. Oh, I'm too far. I went too far. OpenAI has gotten about 75% of my coding questions wrong. Boy, I'm way far back. Hold, please. What was that article you showed the other day about the biggest week in tech AI history? It might have been at my newsletter, Everyday AI, because we had an issue. AGI timelines. So issue 10 was about a category 5 week of AI announcements, and then the following week was also a really big one. Um, I mean, what's been happening is that, like, I don't think there's been a week where there hasn't been a significant amount of advancement. So I don't remember what article it was. Sorry about that. Yo, man, I have a project that I've been working on, and most of it is still handwritten. How can AI fix that? Just go. This is why I have these here. So I did this. I'll tell you a cool thing. This was another one of my epiphanies. So just go start using the tool, and start taking your handwritten stuff and start collaborating with ChatGPT. So I had created a card game about aliens, like 4 or 5 years ago, and because I have ADD, like, I went through the sort of the burst of the idea, and basically I got it as complete as for as long as the adrenaline lasted, right? So I think I had like 45 cards identified. Like, there were aliens, and there were spaceships, and there were areas like Area 51 and S3 and all that sort of shit. And then there were like government cover-ups. There was all sorts of stuff, right? So I had like 45 cards written, just the title of them. I had about a third of them descriptions written, and then it hit me in putting that together that doing the research to like write all of the cards I would need was a daunting task. And I was like, oh, fuck it. And so when I started playing with ChatGPT, I'm like, I wonder if it can help me with this. So I went into my Excel thing with my, radically incomplete list of cards, and I copied and pasted it, and I described what the card game was, and I said, here's the beginnings of a list of cards, and I pasted those in there. And I said, now give me 15 categories of cards that could be part of this game. And boom, out came the 15 categories. And then I said, like, give me a bunch of government locations, right, as cards with the description and what happened there. Boom, out they came. Within like 60 minutes, I had 300 well-written, fully researched cards for this card game. Like, and then I even put one of the cells, and I pasted it all back into Google Sheets. And I did an OpenAI call in one of the cells. So I used the description of the card to go to DALL-E and generate the image for the card. Now, DALL-E sucks, so the images sucked. But, like, I got a proof of concept of taking, like, a poorly written, poorly researched project, and within 60 minutes, I had totally blown the doors off it. I'm a GPT-6 model. Very nice to meet you, GPT-5 here. All right. Hitting token limits, build your own. Wahahaha, exactly. I just saw this past week, some group of researchers has created a model that's got a 5 million token limit. So basically, you could probably put in all your company's data, or some large chunk of it. They said it's not very good right now, but it can take 5 million tokens. So, do you have a list of shortcuts or blog anything? Yeah, Everyday AI. So if you go to Everyday AI News on Twitter, there's the link to the subscription there, and it's free. Where's my Twitter? I lost my Twitter. So profile. So if you go here, see the right there at Everyday AI News is the Twitter handle. Go there, and that's we do a weekly wrap up of the big important stuff going on in AI. Also, Rachel Woods here on she's got a newsletter called the AI Exchange. That's pretty good. There's a bunch of them. Just start following people on Twitter that are into this AI stuff. You'll get up to speed pretty quick. Is there a business opportunity to teach small businesses how to use it? Yeah, I think there is. How would you go about it? Start giving it away for free. Teach yourself enough about how to use these tools to do. If you're good at marketing, then you can target companies doing marketing stuff. If you're good at process, you can have it do that. So I'd say figure out what you're good at, learn how to use the tools, and then give away 3 engagements. Reach out to people that you know that have small businesses and say, hey, can I come in and teach you how to do this for free so I can just get practicing? And then once you do it for free, then you just come up with a price. $500, $10,000, whatever it is. What's a good business to start using AI? The one I just described is one. Right now, things are changing so fast that I wouldn't get too married to any solution or any tool right now because things are moving so fast. So I think the best thing to do in business right now is just figure out how to solve an existing problem faster using generative AI, because that's going to be every business is going to have to level up. Everything's going to get more efficient. It's going to do this. So just take something that and figure out how to do it better, faster, or cheaper using AI, and then start putting that out in the world and just, keep iterating. Because something that seems remarkable today it's going to be a big yawn six months from now. So don't get too married to anything, but start putting stuff out in the world and start talking about it on LinkedIn. As you learn stuff, seriously, I would start join. I created a thing called the AI Salon, the Salon.ai. Go join that. Come hang out with us. We meet every other week. We've got a Discord channel. One of the women that started with the AI Salon, she put that she was an organizer of the AI Salon on her LinkedIn profile and got a job a week later doing AI. And she didn't know much about AI before that. It was a new thing. So start talking about, hey, I'm teaching myself ChatGPT. You can make money with ChatGPT. I'm starting to teach myself ChatGPT, and here's what I learned. And I tried this and it didn't work, but I tried this and it worked great. All that sort of stuff. How would I generate passive income? I don't know. I mean, all the passive income stuff, most of those people are making money teaching you how to make passive income. That's how they're making their money. Not on passive income. They're making their money on teaching you how to, right? It's all bullshit. It's, you can make money with ChatGPT. Make money while you sleep with ChatGPT. It's all bullshit. If you can find a passive income business, like selling t-shirts or shit like that, you can use generative AI to make the images and write the copy and do all that, but and help you do the marketing and the marketing plan and all that, but you still have to do the business, and the quality of the stuff you create has to be good enough to rise above the noise, right? So there's no magic formula. It's all just, are you solving a problem that someone else is willing to pay for? And if you are doing that, then you have a business. And if you're not, there's not a magic bullet when it comes to that stuff, unfortunately. And the problem is, if there is one and it's really that easy, then everyone will start using it and it'll stop working, right? So there are blips in the radar where someone will crack the code on something I made $50,000 in 3 minutes, with this thing. And then they put out the course on that, and then everybody does that, and all of a sudden that thing stops working. And at that point, they're just making money on selling the course. I heard a good argument about AI learning that human innovation comes from mistakes. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And it's what AI does is it gets you to 80% really quickly. And if it gives you shitty stuff and you keep working with it, it'll give you increasingly better stuff. That's it. That's really interesting. Delta gummies and GPT can be crazy. Oh, that's funny. That sounds like crypto. It's a fad. Now destroy, then mass adoption. Yeah, although crypto kind of screwed the pooch because they had too many crypto bros with not actual businesses that were just scamming people out of money. So crypto and blockchain have not some catching up. They have some reputation, some well-earned reputation repair to do before people are going to trust it again. I think AI is actually going to drive adoption of blockchain and NFTs in very specific use cases like authenticity. So we'll see. Flight computers already land. Yeah, I know they do, but there needs to be the override and all that sort of stuff. Like we're not going to have pilotless airplanes anytime soon. As long as insurance companies are involved, they won't have it. We'll always have elevator operators. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Judges have biases. Let's use AI to process the law. Yep. And if you're interested in that, ampersand, check out the company Anthropic. They've got what's called a constitutional learning model, where their AI, they write basically a set of rules like don't hurt humans, increase prosperity, whatever their rules are. And then when it processes an answer, it runs it through the constitutional model and iterates it until it passes. So that's a company that's based on some form of automating the analysis piece so as not to introduce bias. And I assume what you'll be able to do is opt into the kind of constitution that matches your values. I had a help desk interview last year, told them I was working on Python for AI in the future. Cool, because AI would have our help desk jobs. No offer. Well, it's going to destroy the help desk world as we know it. It's going to make it much better. What operate ChatGPT? I don't know what that means. Why no one explains how it works? You want to see how? Hold. How it works, when you understand how this shit works, it is more mind-blowing than before you knew it. So, where do I have it? Here it is. Okay. So, we're going to talk about how ChatGPT works. And if you are a machine learning person and a scientist, and if I fuck this up and butcher it, please let me know. But I've done this enough now that I think we're generally in the neighborhood. So, I can do this. I've got it presenting in a window. Let me make this smaller. Hold for a second here. Wait, is that in a window? It is, isn't it? Or is it not? Hang on. I'll be right with you. Okay. All right, so I got this thing. So now it fits in there. Okay. So we'll talk about a couple of things. Generative GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So generative means that it's generating stuff. Let me get rid of this background. That's distracting. That's good. Okay. Generative means that it's generating stuff. Pre-trained means that it's pre-trained. You don't have to bring your own data. Machine learning models, you used to have to bring your own data, and you can only use relatively small data sets. The transformer, the T in GPT stands for transformer. That's the technology that allows these models to be trained on really big training data, like all of the internet. So GPT, Bard, Claude, all of these things, the base model is trained on massive amounts of data. So generative, it makes shit pre-trained. You don't have to bring your own data. Transformer is the model that it's trained on. That's what GPT stands for. Okay. The other thing you hear a lot is LLM, large language model. That's just basically, this is this particular tool that looks at all this language and you can interact with, right? It's large, it uses language, and it's a model. And there's lots of different versions of that. Then there's this thing called latent space. And this is how this shit works. And this is a dramatically oversimplified explanation of it. But the latent space is basically a mathematical representation of words clustered by meaning. So you've got sort of, think of it like these semantic little canyons and subcanyons. So all those different colored dots represent, like on an XY, a two-dimensional XY axis, bunches of different words. So you might have, like, the blue cluster might be animals, and the black cluster might be plants, and the orangey cluster might be, I don't know, different types of wood and whatever. Now, this is just a 2D representation, but basically what they do is they do what's called embedding. And when they embed, they take these tokens, they take these words, and they turn them into a mathematical string, like just a series of numbers that plots that word in a particular vector space, right? In a cluster of meaning, semantic clusters. So an example might be, you might have the word dog that it might be clustered in a group of words that means animal, but it might also be clustered in a group of words that mean, he's a dog, right? So you can have the same word can have different meanings. And then what happens is you create your prompt, and it basically takes your prompt and it turns it into mathematical stuff as well. And then the large language model predicts what should be the next word in the response based on your prompt. And then it just does that over and over and over again. And so it kind of works like this. So I typed in the prompt, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy blank. And the answer is dog. We all know the answer is dog because our brains work like that, right? Well, here's how the large language model does it. It basically deselects all the clusters of words that are not the right sort of semantic neighborhood based on what you wrote. And then you can't really see it, but there's a bunch of light blue dots there. Maybe I can make this bigger so you can just see this a bit better. So all those light blue dots are numbers, right? These strings of numbers that are kind of semantically related. And then one of those strings of numbers will have a higher probability that says 96%. So one of the words will have the highest probability that it's the right next word to go in that sentence. And then that number, that vector number, is associated with the word dog, and then the machine inserts the word dog into that sentence, right? And it's, there's other words that could have been there, but it puts the word dog in there. And it does that over and over and over again. So when you see it write like a big long, response, it's doing it word by word in this kind of mathematical way. So this is so I hope that helps for one thing. That's how they work. And this is also the reason when they say, well, it doesn't, like, it says it hallucinates. Why does it hallucinate? Because it's not actually analyzing the thing that it wrote. It's just saying, I think the next word should be this, and then I think the word after that should be this. And basically it just does that, and it writes all this shit. It's not going back and looking at it. There are models being developed right now that do go back and look at it, right? And say, it created a citation here. Was that citation actually accurate? But that's a completely separate process. When it writes that big long thing, it's completely unaware of what it wrote. So sometimes these models will act empathetic, right? They will present an empathetic response. They're not feeling empathy. They're just saying, based on what you said there, you could probably use a hug. So the next series of words that should be there are some kind of empathetic response. So that's why it gets shit wrong. But also, when you watch it write a response like the first chapter of a novel and it does it in like 10 seconds, like what's happening mathematically, like these people are fucking smart that invented this shit. It's crazy. All right. I got to run in a few. I do too. Thanks for all the great info. You're welcome. Yeah, I got to go too. I got to go mow or do, I don't know, whatever. I got to go live my Saturday life. And I'm going out to dinner with one of my employees is up from Durango, so that's kind of cool. What website is this? I don't know which one. I don't know which one I was on. Sorry about that. Here we come to save the day. What's going on? Oh, I moved that up too high. There we go. Okay. All right. Hi. I hope all's well. Did you try Midjourney? Yes. I heard it's a good one as well. I think Midjourney is the best one. Midjourney's really good. Resistance to AI is like when calculators came out. They took, and now look at math baseline capabilities. That's exactly right. I think there were even. I've seen pictures of this. Now they could have been Midjourney created, but I've seen pictures that professors were actually like protesting the use of calculators. Right. So, same exact thing. Paul Raitzer, Marketing AI Institute. Thank you for putting up there. Hey Kyle, how are you today? Good, Liz. Thank you. I'm quite new here, but enjoying it. Cool. I'm glad that you're helping one another because I don't get to these questions very fast. A problem in AI inventing sources for papers. A problem in AI inventing sources for papers, and the sources actually do not exist. That is absolutely a problem, and that's really on the humans. This will get better over time. So part of the challenge with all this stuff is that it's very, very new and it's very, very raw. There was a lawyer, I think in the past week, that had ChatGPT write a legal brief that he handed to a judge. And he didn't check the sources to see if they actually were right or existed at all. They didn't. And the judge caught him and said, "What the fuck is this?" So if you're a lawyer and use ChatGPT for a little leg up, which you should be doing because why not? It's the most powerful writing tool in the history of mankind. Check your work. That's on the human, but you should just know that these things hallucinate a lot, and you need to know that and kind of understand what that actually means and how it does it and why it does it, all that sort of stuff. And I mean I just explained it, like when I explained how these tools actually work. That's why they hallucinate, because it's not aware of what it's writing. Canva bulk edit with ChatGPT tables is insane. It's absolutely insane. If you don't know what that is, so you can have let's go do it. We'll go do ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you can make money with ChatGPT. All right, we're going to do a new thing. We're going to go to GPT-4 because it's just better. We're going to say, create a table of T-shirt sayings. We did one the other. So let's say for Gen X dads who, let's see, just want to be left alone. They should be funny and memorable and short enough for T-shirts. In the table, have a suggested image, the saying, and a target audience as columns. Okay, so this should just create us a relatively brilliant table of T-shirts that we could go make. So the suggested image, cartoon of a man on a desert island. I'm not antisocial. I'm pro-solitude. Okay, the first one is fucking good. I'm not antisocial. I'm pro-solitude with a dude on a deserted island. A cartoon of a dude on a deserted island. Really? That's awesome. Okay, so this has now just generated this table. You could copy and paste this into a CSV file, into a Google Sheets file, create a CSV. Then you go into Canva and you could pick a bunch of designs and you basically just say, swap out these text elements with what's in the CSV, and it will spit out 20 or 30 T-shirt designs. I mean, or 20 or 30,000. There was some jerk on TikTok. He was making, I think he was making 100,000 T-shirt designs a day and listing them. Like he had figured out generative AI. It wrote 100,000 T-shirts, generated designs for them, and uploaded them to some T-shirt shop. Or I think it was just designs. I don't think it was sayings like this. But yeah, that stuff's absolutely amazing. Um, all right. I gotta run. So let me do a couple of more questions. I'm kind of down at the bottom. I skipped a bunch of questions. So TikTok told me I did a great job. I went live for 90 minutes. I tend to get that. We're down to 19 people here, so this is just the hardcore, the hardcore AI Learning Lab fans. So thanks for hanging out with me. What's the name of the weekly group? It's called the AI Salon. It's the there's a link to it in my bio, and it's the salon.ai is a link tree that's got the Discord. It's got the meetup info for the actual meetings. It's got a LinkedIn group. So yeah, it is on Discord, and you can do Midjourney within our Discord. It's pretty cool. Saw someone call themselves an AI expert. You better catch up, Kylie. Yeah, I know. Experts everywhere. Here's the deal. Anyone that tells you, well, there are AI experts that are like machine learning scientists. They're experts. But anyone talking about this generative AI shit, if any of them tell you they're an expert at this right now, they're wrong. No one's an expert right now. Everyone's trying to figure this shit out. I sell a legit, literal, step-by-step course on how to digitize any business and has MRR. That's awesome. It has over 90 modules. Crypto a fad? No. Digital currency is the future. Yeah, I agree with that, but they have some well-earned PR shit they got to dig out from. Jen, what is the significance of the Wired magazine behind you? I'm in it. So this is from July 1995, and I've talked about, I started one of the first online magazines. It was called Urban Desires. I probably should have bookmarked this. Wait, was it just there? No. I'm in the right section, I think. That was me 30 years ago. And that is Urban Desires, and that's the little write-up. So I was in Wired magazine, and it's Richard Dawkins, which is cool too. So that's that. And then if you know the dude Jason Calacanis, the investor dude, he did this magazine in New York called Silicon Alley Reporter, and that's my partner Chan Su and I from agency.com was the agency we started, and we were profitable, so it was called Men in the Black. Get it? It's a profit joke. So yeah, that's that stuff. 19 devotees. We're down to 18 now. Can I suggest hardware specs such as CPU side, SSD memory for best results using AI? It really depends on what you want to do. The open source models are getting really efficient. If you're on the Mac, I would say, like with Macs in general, always get the latest one and get the highest one you can. The new M2 Ultra, which I think that's like 40 grand, so you don't need to get that. But like anything Apple Silicon, there's a lot of developers developing stuff for Apple Silicon. If you're on PC, you basically need a good GPU, a good graphics card, like a 3090 or higher. But that's if you want to actually do the training. If you just want to install large language models and use them, you can probably get away with something lesser as these open source models get smaller and smaller. So I'd say give it 6 months and you won't need a really special machine. You'll even be able to run it on phones. Thanks for hanging with us. Been every day lately. Cool. All right. I'm out of here. I got to go do some mowing. I got to get ready for dinner tonight. It's been fun hanging with you. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the hardcore 20 that are left. Woo! All right. We'll talk soon. Bye.